for me, music started as a passion. I remember when I was in high school. It's one of those things that you just notice and feel you have it in you, but then maybe at a particular point you've thought of you might execute the idea depending on how the future is going to be. So when I was in high school, I used to be a rapper. I used to be a writer. I would write for a couple of people. So the time I completed my high school, that was like 2010, back in the days, Chifu High School in Ndola. I decided maybe it was high time I took a step and just, try to get comfortable and get to understand how it works when you are in the atmosphere of the studio. So I came to Lusaka 2011. I met a couple of friends, people like Bling, and a few of them. Then a black boy, I found them in Lusaka. There was a label called, I can't even remember the name. So I did my first recordings there as a rapper. It was making a little bit of sense at the level that I was. Bling is a producer, except now he's a gospel artist. Yeah, Black Boy, I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a good rapper. I think he's back in the Copperbelt now, but I met him here. People like Gibbs Bento, they're no longer doing music, but he's still around. Yeah, and a few of them, I don't know what has happened now. I don't know if they just stepped back or they took another career. Stray Dogs. It was a battle group. I used to be a battle artist. You know what I mean? That was towards 2013, 2014 when I met people like Paul Cruz. By then he was actually working in Ndola. He was working for some man who had a studio in Mushiri. So we met Paul. We started brainstorming together. He helped us on a couple of things. Me, Shamet, and Fiction, who is now a DJ. He's no longer an artist. I don't know if he's still going to pick up the career. But Shamet is still a rapper, and I'm a singer, as you know, currently. But by then I was a rapper, but I was trying to sing as well. That's when I was just being introduced to the singing section. I used to have bars. Yes, and the funny thing is, every singer, for me, I feel every singer was at some point a rapper. And you could easily tell, because even in the singing, you can tell how someone is able to construct the lines to say, but the guy is a rapper at some point. You can feel, you can hear it. Yeah.
Always hurt, and trust me, babe will leave. If giving love and nothing else is all you do, wake up, be quiet.
Well, music, as everybody starts, it always starts with a passion. So you start with that passion, and as you go on now, you start learning to say, okay, from it being a passion, you want to make it a career. And for it to be a career, there has to be an investment. So you start looking at it as a business entity. So it being a business entity, you need to be a product that can sell. So how do you sell a product? It has to be attractive. It has to be something that people can easily accept and buy. The time I did a singing song, it was different from the rap music that I used to do. I attracted a different audience, where you've been doing things for quite some time, and the moment you do something different, you just receive a certain audience that's, So I was like, okay, this is the way for me. This is the direction. So I switched up and I gave up. I wouldn't say I gave up. I just faded off from the rap scene. I believe being a human being who's willing to learn and survive in our economy, you have to be ready to take criticism, negativity. I mean, you tend to put that into a positive energy, you know what I mean? Let every critic that comes be a space for you to build up. So for me, I took it as a challenge. You want to record a song and somebody's telling you, Nigeria, and by then I was just building, it's a learning process. So sometimes you get frustrated, but then you go, it becomes a homework or a researcher. I've always been the type of artist that would expose myself to books. You know, I want to read, I want to understand things, because certain things I believe people will not tell you. Some of the knowledge that you acquire, you just have to make an extra effort, and that will only be possible if you're a person that could develop an habit of reading, you know, a habit of reading. So, well, music doesn't really have that specific definition. It's difficult. There's a certain type of music that's very much acceptable in the Copper Belt, and it has always been like that. So for someone who comes up with a new sound and just sticks to Afropop, no matter the circumstance, it was quite difficult, but then I just had to endure. So I kept on pushing, I kept on perfecting the craft till something came up. Talking of artists, it's the first guy I ever did a collabo, and he actually did it for free for me. It was Kamster, and that was like in my last years before I left YBM Music in Chingola. I did a song called Bless My Hustle in 2014, and Kamster was the guy who accepted to jump on it. And I didn't really know how to push music by then, but I took the song back in Ndola on Sun FM, and Steve, aka Sosik, pushed the song. Most of the people knew me from that song, and from there I actually even had to attract some people from Lusaka that now started following me up. So I want to work with you, this and that. So Kamster was one of the first people that just acknowledged me and felt I was going to do something with the craft. Then I remember later on I did Punyantole, that was like 2015, which was actually my breakthrough in Lusaka. Most of the radio stations knew me from that song because it was on Power Play. It hit on the charts, and Jerox had accepted to jump on the remix, and I did it in 2016. Yeah, and Badman Alaji was born. The Melody Man. For me as an artist, I believe everything that you do is somehow attached. Let me not even say somehow. It has everything attached to your image. So if I decide to add up a name, I was Tilo, and now there's Tilo Badman Alaji, it's because I've taken a certain stance or step. So that name came about when I now started fusing Afropop with dancehall, and I felt there has to be this guy. Whenever I jump on a dancer song, I'm not going to say Tilo. Well, maybe Tilo might be there, but this is going to be Badman Alaji, the guy who speaks Patwa. So that's how come I came up with the name. And Alaji is Western Eastern lingo. Initially it means pilgrimage, you know, but I transfused the name, so I just swapped the letters and I customized them to my liking. It's part of being an artist. For me, I see Shefi to be one of the people in our industry that has given, you know, space to a lot of new guys, and I would say I was one of them, you know. It was 2016 November. There was already a relationship between me and Shefi. We had known each other for some time. We actually did a song together called Maria in late 15. So November 2016, he hit me up and said he would like us to work on something. So I just went in the studio, me and Cream worked on a beat, and you know that thing where you're going through an emotional state and then somebody gives you an opportunity of just saying, do what you feel you can do, and then present it to me and see how it can work. So I went in the studio with Cream, we started up a bit, and I came up with the chorus, the concept. I recorded it, I just recorded the surface of it, and we sent it to him and he liked it. So we worked on a project. I didn't even know it was going to be on the album. I just thought it was going to be one of those songs, you know. Yeah, so we worked on that, and it quite opened up a lot of doors for me, you know. It now switched. It became to Tilo, the guy who featured on Shefi's album. You know what I mean? Because Zambians always modify your name after something, so it switched now. It was the guy who what, and it worked. Okay, for me as an artist, I feel every time I'm working, I want to be in my own zone, We have a whole lot of good talent in Zambia, and to stand out, you have to have something that somebody out there is not doing. So you need to capitalize on what people are not doing. So in my craft, I notice most of my youth or people doing what I do are restricted to a certain type of lyrical content and sound itself. So then, looking at the business aspect, the people that buy the music are not the ones that we usually have on social medias, or allow me to use an understatement or word to say the youngsters. The people that buy music are the mature audience. And how do you get them to love what you do? You need to provide or produce content that they can listen to. So I felt, me being the artist that I've become, I need to now start growing in my craft. Hence, I need to work on my lyrical content. I need to work on music that will be both appealing to the young generation and, of course, the mature audience that are going to support and fund the music on a corporate level. So that's basically about my change and development. Well, I've had issues with people. I feel I don't really call it a problem. I have this thing in me of just wanting to speak my mind, and I feel that's what most of the people don't like about me. That's something that has kept certain people from working with me, because they've noticed I'm the type of person that's just going to say things straight up. If it means throwing it on social media, I'm going to throw it, because it's my expression. I have views as well. I've had issues with Vu Smalls, I respect Vu Smalls. Is one of the biggest people that has made my career to be possible. I cannot lie to that. I can testify to that. But we got into a misunderstanding because he had his own way of doing things, He didn't like certain work ethics of me working with other producers. I don't know why, but I respected his views. So I didn't leave the record label. I was chased, actually. So there's a difference. I didn't leave. I was chased. So mostly every sticker sometimes, it's our industry. Sometimes these things happen. So you learn and you move on. But either ways, I have much respect for him. Me and Starch is a good producer. Starch was one of the producers who was supposed to produce one of my songs on the Melody Man EP, which I dropped last year on 25th July, called Broke and Famous. So I recorded the jam and it stayed in the studio, I don't know, for 6 months, 7 months, And that thing where you keep asking somebody about the song and they keep giving you excuses. I felt like I was wrong, because then, sometimes the producer is going to give you studio time because he would love to work with you, and that's basically what happened between me and Starch. I didn't pay for the record. He gave me a session, he invited me over, he wanted us to work together. I wanted also to work with him. So we had to work on the record, but then he couldn't live up to his work ethic. So we got into whatever happened, and I didn't say anything bad, I just said, he doesn't have a good work ethic. For me, that's how I felt. Because I'm not going to record a song that's supposed to be on my tape and you keep it 7 months in the studio. And these are challenges most of the uprising artists keep complaining about. You pay for a session, you don't pay for a session, a producer keeps your record in the studio for 3-4 months. It doesn't make sense, At the end of the day, you don't realize how much time you're taking away from that person. He had plans of that record, but you decide to keep the record for so many months. And I went all out and I say that, and a couple of people were offended because I said the truth, but it is what it is.
Living right because of you.
Well, for me, I don't know about others that have not heard the tape yet. For me, the Melody Man EP has been an achievement. What I got out of that is not nearly what I even expected. It was a compilation that took me 2 years to put together. I want to thank Cream Dollar for that. I want to thank Cashrow for that. I want to thank Yikes for that. I want to thank Selex and Mr. Ronnie for that, for working on the amazing compilation. When I dropped the tape, I had people that wouldn't and never used to talk to me by then. But when the tape came out and the song started spreading, I sold a couple of copies. The response was massive, and it's still going because it's still pushing me. I didn't drop any singles after. I didn't really focus on dropping any single after I put out the tape, because the music kept on pushing me on the tape, despite we had put it on sale. But the music was there to speak to people, and from that time I've only been shooting videos out of the tape. So I dropped Itishinka last year, which also has been doing good. And of course, the recent song that got me the best R&B song in 2018, Because of You with Mumbachi, it also added up to the tape, and it gave it that momentum to just last and stick into people's mind. I'm a signed recording artist under Guap Music Africa. It's based in Dola, and the CEO is Cream Dollar. We've got a management board there. I got to know about Selex last year. I had a feature from a guy called CIA. He's a Lusaka-based uprising rapper. So I went there and I worked on his project. I met the producer, we had a chat, and he gave me an opportunity of producing me a song. So from there, we started building up the relationship, and I felt at some point, say, okay, well, it's always good to meet people that make you feel at home whenever you're recording. So I was like, okay, I need to introduce this guy to my people. So I made the effort of making sure Selex knew my producer back in the Copper Belt, and we built the chemistry. So from there, we've just been working like it's one team, Like if the guys come to the Copper Belt, there's Guap music there. When I'm in Lusaka, there's Criterion music here. So that's basically how we've been working. 2019, we're stepping up the game. 2019, I want to put a whole lot of face to my content, I want to do a lot of virtuals. I want to do a whole new type of music sound. I've been experimenting, and I think the right word should be, you just need to be ready for what's coming. So shit. So I don't know if it's a problem for me, but I'm still working on it. So hopefully this year I don't say anything loud on social media. I'm hoping so.